The drama begins with Sheen on his first day of school. He's looking for his classroom, and we soon discover that this is his senior year. He accidentally bumps into a student named Gish. As she falls, Gish catches her, but his phone falls to the ground. When Sheen tries to thank him, he leaves before she can say anything. During the welcoming ceremony, the school administration introduces Gish to the students, announcing that he has earned the highest IQ score, making him an exemplary student. Gish introduces himself to everyone and the entire student body applauds. We see that many girls, including Sheen, are attracted to him, but she knows that seeing him often will be difficult because students with high grades have their own special building. We also discover that Gish, although he is the smartest student in school, is also interested in creativity and is the best at solving extremely difficult math problems in front of all the students. Later, Sheen and the other girls receive a message that Gish is at a cafe and will soon be passing by their building. They all run to see him and follow him until he enters their building. At one of Gish's seminars, she talks about childhood cancer, and we see Sheen and the other girls attending. At the same time, a photo of Gish with a girl named Shahu, who is in his class, appears, leading the girls to believe they are in a relationship. Sheen is upset by this and spends the rest of the day staring at her photo. His friends tell him to snap out of his daydream. At that moment, a classmate named Ayn approaches Sheen, gives her flowers, and confesses that he likes her and wants a relationship with her. But Sheen rejects him, saying that he loves Gish and will confess his feelings to her soon. Her friends decide to help her by creating a distraction in the classroom so Sheen can visit Gish during recess. She goes to the high IQ student building, and when she sees Gish, she gives her a gift and confesses her love for her, hoping she'll accept her feelings. However, Gish rejects her, saying it's impossible because he doesn't like girls who aren't smart and act stupid. He then leaves. Sheen feels embarrassed and thanks God no one saw her. However, the security camera operator saw everything and broadcast the video to all the students. Soon, the students surround Sheen, taking pictures. When she returns home, she discovers the video has been shared on social media and everyone is making fun of her. At the same time, she sees her father coming out of the house, telling her to run, but she doesn't understand why. Then she notices many rats coming out of the house, and suddenly the house collapses. The press arrives at the scene and interviews Sheen and his father, asking them what happened. The media reports that they are a homeless family, and the news spreads quickly. Sheen's colleagues, including Ayn and his friends, start a fundraising campaign to help them. Sheen tries to hide, but they find her and take her to the money collection site. However, she refuses the help. Gish arrives and begins to mock her, saying that her father was wrong for buying a cheap house. Sheen becomes angry and defends her father, saying he worked hard to buy a house so she could attend the best schools. He claims that grades don't measure a person's character and challenges Gish in front of everyone, declaring that on the next exam, she'll be one of the top students and her name will be next to his. When Sheen returns to her father, he collects his belongings from the rubble, and her father tells a friend named Ollie what happened. Ollie offers them a place to stay at his house until their situation improves. Ollie's assistant arrives to pick them up in a car. When they arrive at Ollie's house, he greets them warmly, and his wife also kindly greets Sheen. She introduces him to her young son, Yusha. Amy, Ollie's wife, takes Sheen to show him the room where he'll be staying. During their conversation, Sheen learns that Amy's eldest son also attends the same school as her. Amy proudly mentions that her son is famous throughout the school and jokes that she always wanted a daughter like Sheen so they could be friends. She even suggests that Sheen could one day become her son's girlfriend. Sheen confesses to Amy that he likes a boy at his school, although he has already rejected her love. Before going to sleep, Sheen tries to burn Gish's photos but can't. He sees her image everywhere, even on his bedclothes. Suddenly, Gish appears in front of her, and she is shocked to realize that Gish is Ollie and Amy's son. He asks her to throw away all his photos, but she refuses, saying, "Don't go near anything that belongs to me." Gish replies, "You're right, it's none of my business, even though we live in the same house." The next morning, as Gish leaves the house on her bike, her mother asks her to stop and suggests she takes Sheen to school. Sheen happily hops in, but halfway there, Gish stops and says, "Be careful not to tell anyone we live in the same house, and stay at least 5 meters away from me." Then he drives off, leaving her there. While at school, Amy sends Sheen a video of Gish playing, which makes Sheen laugh. She sends the video to Gish, and he asks her to meet him privately. All the other girls notice this. A surprised Sheen says, "Weren't you the one who told me not to come near you? Now you're the one who wants to see me." Gish shows him the video and asks him to delete it from his phone. Sheen sees an opportunity and makes a deal with him. He must help her with her studies so she can become a top student, or else he'll share the video with the entire school. Gish agrees to her terms, and Sheen is pleased. Gish begins tutoring her in math. We see that Sheen struggles a lot at first, but after repeating the lessons several times, she begins to understand better. At school, Sheen spends all day studying, so focused that she barely notices what's happening around her. Ein follows her around, protecting her from any danger. At one point, Ein even saves her from a falling flower pot. Meanwhile, Gish watches Sheen study. He helps her with a particularly difficult math problem and tells her it's on the next test, so she must study hard. Sheen works diligently, practicing until she can solve the problem correctly. She notices that Gish has fallen asleep from exhaustion, so she sits down beside him, promising herself to meet and exceed his expectations. Eventually, she falls asleep beside him as well. Gish's mother comes in and takes a photo of them both sleeping. On exam day, Sheen manages to answer all the questions. When the results are announced, she anxiously searches for her name among the top students, but can't find it. The girls around her tease her for publicly challenging the other students. At that moment, the administration arrives with Gish, who points out that a name is missing from the list. After checking the results, they announce that Sheen's grades place her among the top students. Gish writes Sheen's name on the board in front of all the students, which angers the girls she liked. Meanwhile, Sheen's friends are happy for his success. Sheen proudly says, "Finally, my name is written next to yours," and Gish congratulates him. She celebrates with her friends, jumping for joy. The scene then shifts to the school's 87th annual sports competition. Ein competes against Gish in a race, hoping to win so Sheen will choose him. However, Ein loses and Gish wins the race. We see Gish among the girls cheering for her son. She then decides to send a photo of her son and Sheen together to all the girls present, revealing that they live in the same house. After that, Gish starts mocking Ein for winning, and a fight breaks out between them. Sheen intervenes and tells Gish that Ein is a good guy and doesn't insult people the way he does. He adds that he doesn't like her arrogance. At that moment, one of Gish's friends plays a video on the screen where Sheen says, "I love you," but Gish had rejected her. Gish laughs and all the students mock Sheen. In response, Sheen sends the video of the students mocking everyone, and everyone starts laughing. Then the two groups start fighting. Gish takes Sheen to a secluded spot and asks her why she did that. She replies that he always treats her badly in front of her friends, so she hopes to forget her feelings for him one day. She adds that when she finishes school, she'll meet a very handsome boy and start a relationship with him. Gish approaches him and tells him she'll never forget him. Then she leaves. When Sheen returns home, he sits with Amy. Amy tells him she's happy Sheen has feelings for her son and explains that Gish has changed since the day she arrived home. She explains that Gish doesn't get along with his father because he's always busy with work. Amy adds that everyone assumes Gish will inherit his father's company, but she just wants her son to be happy, and she believes he can find that happiness with Sheen. This makes Sheen very happy, and he assures Amy that he will always be by Gish's side. The next day, Gish has an important exam that will determine her ability to study abroad. Sheen prepares a lucky charm and puts it in her bag, wishing her success. However, when she arrives for the exam, she slips on the stairs and arrives late. When she tries to write, her pen breaks. She feels something bad is happening to her and remembers what Sheen put in her bag. He thinks the amulet is causing him bad luck and runs to the bathroom. He then goes to get a drink, and we see Sheen secretly watching him. When he sees he's okay, he decides to return home, but unfortunately, he has an accident. Gish sees him from afar and runs to her, finding her unconscious. He takes her to the hospital. When he wakes up, he finds himself at home and fears that Gish may have failed her exam because of him. At that moment, Gish is sitting with his father and tells him he doesn't want to take the exam, not because of Sheen, but because he doesn't want to inherit the company. His father gets angry, and his mother is upset too. Gish explains that he can do whatever they want, but only they will be happy, not him. He asks them to let him do what he loves and not force him. He apologizes for what happened and leaves. Sheen overhears everything and goes to apologize to his father. He then goes out to find Gish. When he finds him, he tries to comfort him, telling him that he's different from everyone else and deserves to do what he loves. He advises him to follow his passions and assures him that he'll always be there to support him. Gish decides to live away from his family and take responsibility for himself. We see his father angry, refusing to say goodbye when Gish leaves. Gish goes to Donan University of Technology, and Sheen discovers he's working at an animal care center. She goes to check on him, carrying a small worm. She asks him to examine him and asks if he's okay, if he's sleeping and eating well. He says he's fine and asks her to leave so she can get back to work. That night, she sends him food and goes to give it to him. However, she follows him to find out where he lives. At that moment, she sees Shaho, a girl from her class, waiting outside. They both enter the house together, and Sheen stays outside, feeling angry. She notices the lights go out and assumes they're sleeping together. The next day, she asks Ayn to help her keep an eye on Gish and Shaho as they walk through the garden. Gish sees them and asks Sheen what he's doing there. She replies that they're celebrating Valentine's Day. Shaho starts taking a lot of pictures of Sheen and Ayn, and Gish becomes visibly upset. To anger Sheen, he also takes a photo with Shaho. Later, Ayn makes a deal with a driver to escape with his beloved when she arrives. But unfortunately, Shaho shows up. The driver drives off with Shaho in the car, despite Ayn's pleas to return. Gish arrives and takes Sheen away. They both board a boat. Gish asks her why she went there, and she tells him she saw him and Shaho enter the house together. He asks what they were doing, and Gish tells her the story of a boy named Nana, who has cancer. She explains that her father's company and Shaho's company decided to donate money to a hospital for children with cancer. That's why he was with Shaho, waiting for a call about needed supplies for the hospital. He confesses that his dream is to become a great doctor, not inherit his father's company. He tells Shaho that Sheen is the first person he's ever told his dream to. In her excitement, Sheen stands up, but falls into the river, and Gish jumps in after her. When they leave, they see that the last car has already left, so they decide to stay in a hotel that night. Later, they change clothes, and Gish goes out to look for food. Sheen starts to get scared, so she grabs an umbrella and goes out to look for him. However, she senses someone following her, and in her fear, she drops the umbrella and runs. Then she sees Gish, who asks her why she went out. She tells him she was scared, so he gives her his jacket. They return to the hotel, and as Gish falls asleep, Sheen says, "The woman who becomes your wife in the future will be very lucky." He then asks that woman to love him more than she loves herself. As Sheen falls asleep, we see that Gish heard her and says to herself, "I'll never find someone who loves me as much as you do." The next morning, when they wake up, Gish's mother calls and tells her that her father is in the hospital, seriously ill. Gish and Sheen go to the hospital, and Sheen's father informs them that Gish's father has suffered from a long-standing heart condition, which has worsened due to work. The doctor informs them that he needs heart surgery and will let them know when it will be. Gish's assistant informs him that the company is experiencing financial difficulties and that the founders want a meeting for which Gish's father is responsible for all decisions. Gish decides to go to the company and tells his mother to look after his father, asking her to keep him informed. He then leaves with his assistant. Sheen follows him and sees Gish with Shaho, who has brought doctors specializing in heart conditions to examine his father and prepare for surgery. Gish goes to the company and tries to resolve the financial issues with the founders. Meanwhile, his father undergoes surgery, and his condition remains uncertain. During this time, Gish recalls moments with his father, looking distraught. He begins reviewing the company's assets, transactions, and stocks, trying to find a solution to the financial problems. Exhausted, he falls asleep, and Sheen comes in to cover him with a blanket. Next morning, when he wakes up, he realizes he's late. He grabs his bag and leaves, drinking the coffee Sheen made for him. That afternoon, Sheen waits outside the company with an umbrella. When he goes outside and sees her, he approaches her and she says, "I was worried about you, so I brought this umbrella to protect you from the rain." He asks her not to help him with anything and tells her he doesn't have time for her since he's busy with work and his father. He also asks her to stay away. Later that night, we see Sheen sitting alone somewhere, and her father arrives and tells her she should get her own place and leave the house, considering the owner's feelings. He advises her to control her emotions, as he knows she's capable of doing so. Sheen accepts his advice. A few days later, Ollie feels better, and his entire family is by his side, caring for him. His father asks Gish what his relationship with Shaho is. Gish explains that if she marries Shaho, she'll bring a significant investment to the company, which will help solve their financial problems. Her father tells her that if she wants to get married, she should marry the woman she loves. Just then, Sheen arrives and says he's come to check on his Uncle Ollie. Gish informs him that he's proposing to Shaho and postponing his studies. Sheen congratulates him, though his heart aches, and says, "I thought my dream would come true, but it's been abandoned. I'll no longer pursue it." Then he runs out, crying. He starts packing his things and leaves the house, informing Amy and Ollie of his decision. Later, we see her working as a nurse in a hospital, where she checks Facebook and sees Gish and Shaho. She learns that Gish will be giving a lecture at her old school. She hesitates, but ultimately decides to attend, hiding among the students to listen to her lecture. When he arrives, he sees Gish and hears him say, "The rumors you heard were only about you. I wanted to know if you still love me. When you showed up, I knew you did." He confesses that he still loves her and has missed her a lot. He tells her that he's lived these days only with memories of her, because she's the only person who has ever touched his heart. Then, Gish asks him to marry him. Sheen, incredulous that her dream would finally come true, accepts, realizing she'll spend the rest of her life with the man she loves. If you want more drama like this, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video.